Hello everyone. So I finally got the Xperia 1 Mark II. It is an awesome phone. And I want to make a quick review of this first case that I purchased for it. So it is the Olixar case. It was 17 bucks. It looked pretty good. And overall I'd say it is a pretty good case. I'm going to compare it to my XZ Premium, which I used for over 3 years. This has a Spigen case that is 20 bucks. I've been very happy with this case. Like I said, it's lasted for about 3 years. It's tough. Phone's fallen many times. You can see there's kid stickers that are falling off and old. I like how there's a deep hole for the camera, meaning that it won't get scratched or anything like that. And overall the case just feels very protective. I also like how the rubber, or the, I guess I wouldn't really say rubber because this is fairly stiff, but how the material goes above the screen. I'd say probably about a little over a millimeter. So that way if the device ever falls flat on something, the screen is always fine. And I actually, in fact, most of the times I've dropped it, I always checked for a little dust or anything that was on the screen that could indicate that it hit the ground. And in all cases, the screen never actually hits the ground. The case itself always does. So based on some of these observations and using the XZ Premium for over 3 years, I got this first case. I believe it was recommended with the purchase from Amazon for this phone. And overall, I just want to say it is a decent case. You can still see I have not gotten a screen protector yet, so I have a little piece of tape holding down the factory screen protector so it doesn't fall off while I'm waiting for the tempered glass. Now, outside of the absolutely most ridiculous autofocus ultimate experience, whoever thought of that, it's just like, come on, why? Just why? Autofocus ultimate experience. That's great. Overall, I like the back. I like the finish. I like the feel. And I think it's pretty similar to this case. Whoa, I got an alarm here. Fantastic in the middle of the video. And this is a good type of material. It's not particularly rubbery. It's just slightly rubbery enough that it doesn't slide around on a table and it feels comfortable in your hand, but it's not gooey and it's not really that flexible. You kind of got to bend it back pretty good to get the phone in on both these. So I'm a big fan of this material. And one thing I wanted to point out, which this case does not have, which is actually one of the main reasons I purchased it. If you look, I don't know if you can tell, but if you look on the image of the case on Amazon, there appears to be a little chin on the bottom and the top. Exactly for what I wanted, which is if the phone falls flat, the screen doesn't hit the ground. However, upon getting the case, there is no actual chin. And what I did notice is that even though there is a small layer around the screen, it's not nearly as big here. I'd say it's probably, I don't know, maybe like 0.3 millimeters or 0.4, while this one's probably over like 1.2 to 1.4 above the screen. So there's not much clearance at all. And in fact, literally it's almost non-existent. And I really don't like that, considering obviously this phone is not cheap. It also has a bigger screen, which means there's more area to break if it falls. And considering just the fact that this is clearly in the picture of the product, I mean, this is literally why I bought it. That little chin on the front and on the back, it's not actually there. It doesn't exist. Though outside of that, for the front side, I think it's fine. It's a totally fine case. I like the feel. I like everything about it, except that it could just be a little taller over the screen. Now, I did want to point out this is an issue for this phone because it has the side sense, so it can feel the side of the screen, which doesn't really work with one of these cases, but at this point it's not going to work anyways, so I'd rather have a taller edge. One other point is that the fingerprint sensor on this phone, the way the hole is here for the thumb, it doesn't work well for my thumb. Like, I can get it 30 to 50% of the time, but outside of that it doesn't work, and it's a little annoying because with this phone obviously you're always opening it with the fingerprint sensor, and this just needs to be a tiny bit bigger. For example, if I use this finger here with my left hand, I have no problem at all. As soon as I have my thumb, I have to position it many different times to get it to read, and it's just a little annoying. Outside of that, I want to mention the same thing for the back. Outside of obviously kind of ridiculous writing here, I really wish this was recessed a little more back, giving more protection to the camera. In fact, I really wish there was a sliding option here that could cover the camera, because the camera on this phone is absolutely fantastic, as we all know. And just when you look at it carefully, it looks like it's pretty far down as the circle around the camera, but the camera actually pops up. So if you look carefully, once again, the camera is less than 1 millimeter, probably less than half than 1 millimeter below the recess of the case itself. Really not giving it that much more protection. And considering the camera is bigger, for example, on the Z Premium, the camera is small. So there's kind of a good size hole here. I'd probably say it's like 2 millimeters deep. It's going to be hard to get anything in there. And this is a larger hole. It's easier to get something in there. It's easier to scratch it. And the area that it protects it is smaller. So those are my 2 cents. I think that if you're just buying this phone and you need a case right now, this is a totally fine case, and there's nothing really particularly wrong with it, outside of maybe the annoyance of the fingerprint sensor. So as you can see, well, this also makes a difference of what hand you're using it, but obviously with a device like this, you're going to use it with both hands. So sometimes I pick it up with my left and it works, and then I pick it up with my right and it does not. So yeah, those are my 2 cents. Check this case out. For 17 bucks, it's totally fine. You should definitely get a case instead of not getting one at all. And yeah, if you have any opinions, let me know. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look and see if I can find something better with just a little more protection of the camera. And especially, I know these cover cases are not common anymore, but I really want something that can kind of like slide, or a little piece of plastic that can flip over the camera, or I can very easily just kind of lower down. Just because it would be a real great shame to just scratch this up with a key or something like that. So yeah, hope this helps. If you're interested in getting the phone, definitely get it. It's absolutely awesome.